We all know that the key to getting more customers is building that know and trust factor. And with the advent of social media, this has become easier and infinitely more complicated at the same time. It's really hard to know where to begin. I'm Ivana Taylor. I'm the publisher of DIY Marketers and the host of, and in this session, we're going to show you a specific recipe for turning strangers into friends, advocates, and most importantly, into customers. With me today is Michaela Underdahl from Nimble. Hey, Michaela.
Hi, Ivana. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Let me tell you a little bit about Michaela, and then she can jump in and fill in the blank. So Michaela is actually responsible for growing and nurturing the Nimble community. That means ambassadors, partners, influencers, writers, and of course, customers. Now, she works with traditional media as well as with industry influencers to help them tell their stories about the benefits of using Nimble. And she's also responsible for all the social media. But of course, nowadays, used to be Michaela behind that Nimble handle, but now they've got a really terrific team of folks that are there to help out. Now, one of the reasons I'm including Michaela here is because Nimble is a pretty decent sized company. I've known John Ferrara and that group since they got started. But they have built this platform, big partnerships, big customers, everything from little folks like me all the way into big companies like Microsoft. And they did it with, I don't think you guys did any paid advertising. I don't think you paid any influencers. I don't think you did any of that. It was all through building relationships and people. John might be the heart behind Nimble, but Michaela is the operations making it all happen. So welcome, Michaela. It's so great to have you here.
So nice to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. So tell us, what is your customer getting recipe and what problem does it solve?
So my customer getting recipe is building relationships, identifying the right people and building relationships from scratch
the right way. So it's almost like cold calling online, but much easier.
Yes, I want to put emphasis on the right way because we've all been in a situation where somebody reaches out to us. Maybe it looks good from the get-go. They take the time to customize the LinkedIn invite. The second you hit accept, there's a page. After the page, there's another page, and they just are pitching at you. And what do you just ignore them, or worst case, you disconnect from them. So I want to show you how to do this the right way. So they want to work with you and then also drive people like them to you.
Excellent. So I know that a lot of us can use this, but is there a specific type of business or business owner that this particular recipe is ideal for?
I work mostly with people that are in the B2B sort of business, but I want to make sure that everybody understands that this can really be replicable by everybody. And I want to focus on one thing. Service providers, they don't see themselves as salespeople, marketers. Usually you become an advisor or consultant because you've done something, and in a certain point in your career, maybe I want to go on my own. I want to teach other people. So people see themselves as service providers they are, or teachers or helpers, but then they need to market themselves and they need to sell what they know. This can also be a real estate agent that is not considered B2B. So this really can be replicable by people that are in the B2C sort of environment as well.
Gotcha. Now, of course, I'm not going to steal your thunder in this, but what kind of tools are you going to need to do this? If I finish watching this, what should I have on hand to put something like this in place?
Definitely access to the internet and some social media accounts. I would definitely say if you are a business owner, website is a must. So if you already have all these things in place, then you will need ideally a CRM, but if you don't have a CRM, a spreadsheet will do as well. Just a tool or a spreadsheet that you can use to capture everything you have found out. And also you need to be tracking the engagement, because if you reach out to somebody and then don't follow up, that's it.
Excellent.
So
All
it's
right.
really
Take us.
applicable and pretty easy.
Excellent. Take us through your steps then.
Awesome. So I mentioned that you will need a presence. So website is a must. There's a lot of tools that you can just get started with. There are templates, so it should really not take that much time, energy, and money. Back in the day, you really probably needed to hire a website developer. Now with all these available tools, you can get up and running pretty fast. So it's a must, because when people hear from you or when you reach out to them, they'll click on you, they'll Google you, and it will give you and your business credibility. So if you don't show up in search, people won't trust you. So ideally, you do show up in search immediately. Ideally, you also have at least a little bit of a presence on LinkedIn. It does not have to be full-blown thing with everything filled in that LinkedIn offers you, but at least a little bit of an experience and just something that comes up when people Google you, to give them like the proof. Okay, this person is serious. They're really running a business. And then you need to figure out how you're going to present yourself, who you are. The most important thing is to be authentic. So if you are not, and this is something I hear all the time, I don't want to be out there. I don't want to share pictures of my family. I don't want to be sharing too much personal information. So figure out what is it that you want to share. So if you are a consultant in a certain area, you are probably passionate about a lot of things in and around your business. So you can be talking about that, or other hobbies that you have. Maybe you are into, I don't know, you love to be fixing your grass, you're into turf, you are into astrology, you love cooking. So you can be like sharing a little bit from around that. But most importantly, once you develop profiles on social media, you need to be sharing something that's relevant to your ideal customer. So let's take an example of a real estate agent. So around Christmas time, you can be sharing local information about what's happening in the area regarding Christmas. Is there an ice rink that your ideal customer can take their kids? Maybe people are just moving into the area. They haven't even started looking for a house, and they're looking for activities that they want to figure out where is it they would want to be looking. So you have to set up yourself as the trusted advisor to them, because that's how you essentially will build trust. So getting out there, getting the necessary information about yourself out there, and being human and approachable, and giving people also a way to start conversations with you. So this is great, but you will have to be proactive. You are probably wondering, okay, how do I start? How do I identify who to reach out to, and how do I do it? Now we've ensured that people can find you. They know you're legit. So you've defined your ideal audience, you know who they are. So you need to determine where you're going to be looking for them. So again, this comes back to the type of business you are. So if you're a photographer, maybe Instagram will be a great platform for you. So if you're a photographer, you've set up your profiles, and now it's time to start getting practice. You can start by looking at other photographers in the area, seeing who is engaging with them, find more people like them, and start kind of like clicking through, getting into the rabbit hole of Instagram, looking at the hashtags. So what hashtag are they using? And you can already start writing them down, and then you can go through the hashtag search. So you can identify local photographer, or I don't know, I'm in the Atlanta, Georgia area. So that's where you would be looking for your customers. So then by the hashtags, you might be discovering people that share that. Once you know who you're looking for, and once you find 1, 2, 3 people, you can be looking for people more like them, because people hang out with people like them. So if I'm a bride looking to hire a wedding photographer, maybe I have 50 more people that will be looking for that in the future. But if you are more in the B2B, if you're a consultant, maybe Instagram is not the right place. Maybe business owners or decision makers, maybe you provide sales coaching. The decision maker that you want to build a relationship with will be the VP of sales or sales director. So you can use the search on LinkedIn. You can start typing the title of the decision maker, VP sales director, and then slice it down by using the search, let's say by the area, or if you're not really limited by area, it can be the size of the business, or what is it they focus on. You're probably working with specific type of companies. Maybe they're in the technology space, so you can slice it down to SaaS or technology software. And then you have a list of people. And then this is where it starts. So you need to make sure you have somewhere to capture what you found. So CRM will make it easier for you because there's a lot of things that the technology can do for you. But if you don't have anything in place, you just need to get started. Like I said, a spreadsheet will do as well. So find the person, take them somewhere, take the name, and make sure that you do further research. So and focus on what is it they are telling you about themselves and look for those keywords. So this is actually a tip I received from one of our customers, and I'm going to give him credit. His name is Jim Duffy, and he taught me to utilize keywords. So when he identifies a prospect, he goes on their website and he focuses on the bio, because the bio you write about yourself. So you make sure that you tell people what is it that you are most proud of. The school you went to, the projects you worked on, the people you worked with, like any other accomplishments. So then he takes these things and he puts them in the profile of the customer in his CRM. And he not only puts it there, but he puts it in all caps. So when he opens up the contact record before, and he does a lot of cold calling. So he literally has few seconds to capture the person's attention. So then he opens it up and he knows exactly, okay, so went to this school, work with this person. So he takes this and he mentions it in the second sentence. Probably the first sentence is, this is who I am, this is why I'm calling you. And then he mentions that and he tells me every time, wait, what? So people were ready to like hang up, you disturb them unannounced. So make sure you capture all this information somewhere. Maybe it's in all caps, whatever works for you. And then one thing to also mention, don't expect results right away. That's how we hit the ignore or delete button when you start getting pitches from people you don't even know who they are. So let's say you've identified a group of people. You should probably organize them in a way as well. This is where a CRM might be a little easier as well, but spreadsheet, again, you can color code it. You can just put a certain keyword on there. These are VPs of sales. These are the company owners. These are maybe influencers I want to build relationships with. And then you should probably set up a process. Again, you are the business owner, you do everything else, but set time aside for this can really pay off in the long term. So maybe first thing you wake up in the morning, you make the first cup of coffee, you can do the engagement. So you identify them, you ensure that you have enough information about them captured, and now it's time to start slowly working on developing the relationship. So maybe you start with a LinkedIn invite, you introduce yourself, and do not message them immediately. Let them be, let them even forget about you. And maybe you continue to do the research. Maybe they're also on Twitter, and maybe they are on a different platform, even though they're in I don't know, VP of sales of technology company. Maybe they are passionate about something and they're on Instagram. It's an open profile. It's okay to give them a follow. It's okay to give them a follow on Twitter and look for engagement opportunities. And this is where sharing a little bit about yourself can pay off. And when your ideal customers or prospects share a little bit about themselves, it's a great opportunity for you to jump in, not telling them anything about what you do, but just reacting to it. Ideally, you identify a right opportunity to help. Maybe they have a question, they're looking for a tool that you don't sell, but maybe you use, or you know somebody that uses it, or just try to be helpful. And you'll probably have to do this for a while. It really depends on how active people are, and it will be very individual, but just make sure that you capture these little touches, and it will be up to you to identify the right time to make the pitch. It will probably take several touch points. So again, tracking it somewhere. Spreadsheets will be more manual. In a customer relationship management tool, there's certain information that it will be captured for you automatically. So then when you open up the contact record for the person, you'll see when was the last time I talked to them? Was it on Twitter, or was it on LinkedIn? Was it on email or something? So then you need to find out the right time to make the pitch. And it should also come from a place of you offering to help them. So when you make the proposition, focus on the problems that you can solve for them. And once you make the proposition, now it will be all about follow up. So until you get a response for them, make sure that you keep following up. This is one thing that sounds like really easy, and that's something I personally have been working on, was to go for no in a polite way. Because if you don't make the ask, it's a no. But if you do make the ask, it's either yes or no. At least you have a shot. So follow up, and then let's say you have the opportunity to meet with them on in person or via Zoom or whatever. So again, make sure you do your research, review your notes, all the information you captured about them, go on their social media sites, go on their website, see what is it that you can bring up, you can start the conversations with. And once you're on the call and it goes well, ideally, again, make sure that you follow up with them after the call, thank them for their time, and most importantly, again, use technology, or at least write it somewhere. What is it that you discussed exactly, and what is it that you promised them that you will do? And then do it. Follow up with them after the fact, and let's say you do whatever you do for them, you provide coaching, or if you are a real estate agent, you sell their house or something like that. Make sure that you continue to stay in touch with them. And again, CRM tool can help you to remind you that there are certain groups of people that you wanted to be in touch with on a regular basis. So continuing, it's like a cycle. So you've done this before you reach out to them. You looked for engagement opportunities, but it's also important to do this after the sale. Do they need help? Are they asking what to do with their kids on the weekend in the area? Can you help them? Can you stay in touch and top of mind with them? Because maybe they'll need your products or services again in the future, or they know somebody that might. And after some time, and again, this will be up to you to decide when the right time is, you will have to, very important, go for no again and ask them for a review or a referral or both. And they might not respond, which is okay. Follow up. They might say, I can't do it right now, or no. But if you've provided a good service or you've done a good job, why would they say no? So just keep following up until you get the review from them. And with referrals, the same. So it's like a cycle. So make sure that you're capturing the information, and then you're organizing people into groups and set time aside to do the engagement to make sure that they keep knowing you and what you do, that you're still in business. So they think of you when they're listening to somebody about a problem they need to solve, or a tool they need, or a service they need.
Awesome. I have questions. I
Yes,
know the
please.
audience has questions. So, a couple things about how many people should you add to your first batch of people? Because I'm thinking to myself, like, you don't want to do thousands, because I know that you feel this way and I feel this way. Even if you're using a CRM tool, no matter what you're using, there's a temptation to do a lot of broad stuff and pull like thousands or hundreds of people in, but that's very difficult to manage. So what do you recommend, Michaela? Like in a typical B2B, let's say you're a consultant and you're looking for that VP of sales. What kind of batch number is decent, workable?
I would say whatever you can handle. So if you're starting, well, that wasn't like the right answer. So let's say,
No, that's not the right answer.
let's say you're starting from scratch.
Right.
Maybe, so you start with the initial search. So you don't have anybody in your, at the beginning stages of your funnel. So maybe you identify 10 and then you take one and you do a little more research with them and you put them in the next stage. So then you have 9 and then you have 1. And like I said, this should be like a regular part of your maybe daily routine. So ideally, you are always adding people to the left part of your pipeline. So you're always adding more and more, making sure that's like the longest column. And then you are like moving the other ones to the right or down the funnel.
No, I get exactly what you're saying. So I think that's a great idea. 10, you don't want to be overwhelmed. Any of us can come up with 10 folks. So the next question I have that you alluded to about how much time are you investing daily? Because that first part of the process, I know might feel like, tedious and difficult, but it's again, sharpening the saw. So how much time should you invest? Is it like 30 minutes, an hour? Swaggy it.
Yeah, I think, and especially after a little bit what you're doing, 20-30 minutes, maybe first. That's how I work. First thing in the morning is the most quiet, and then things just start like happening. So whenever you have quiet time, dedicating 20-30 minutes in the morning, and if you do it consistently, if you do it every day, one day you'll identify one person, maybe one day it will be 5, and maybe sometimes during the day there will be a referral, or you will just be doing something else and somebody will pop up. If you do it regularly, if you dedicate time for the identification part of the business development, you will always be feeding the funnel this way.
So this is the toughest question of all. What about people, especially in the B2B space, who have accounts on social platforms, but they don't share anything? They literally just, you can't find them. Or if you do find them, you notice that they just have the generic banner. They don't have an image. There's not a lot going on there. What are your tips for that?
That will be tougher for sure. So it will come down to really making sure it's the right fit. Like, do you really know that you can help them? And so they probably have a website, so they describe their business. And if you already know like what the problems are that some of the businesses like them have, you will have to make sure you reach out in the way that's not salesy, but coming from, I know I can help you, let them know how. So even though they're not sharing a lot of content out there and like their kids and football, but they probably will have the website and there will be a contact information on there. So it will be up to you to really make sure you take time to draft the pitch and show them like, okay, introduce yourself nicely. What like, what are your qualifications to solve the problem? And most importantly, knowing that this is the problem that they might be having. And then just make sure you follow up, find this right ratio. And it might not work out, it might, but again, mark them somehow so you can go to them again, maybe in 6 months.
And I thought of something. You could actually search for other people who work at that company and maybe build relationships with them. So then they refer you in. So clearly this is not a process that takes minutes a day, half hour a day, maybe an hour a day as you're going through this process. I do want to add something that you and I both know, but I don't think our audience knows. And we talked about this, which is this is such a terrific exercise for setting up your sales process. If you're just starting up and you haven't determined a sales process, you want to hire someone like you hate selling. If you hate selling, this is a great process for you because you'll be meeting people on a personal level. Number two, you'll be developing a sales process. Lots of platforms, sometimes they call it a pipeline, but what you're actually looking at is a process, a recipe, a workflow. These are words that you're going to hear over and over again. And like Michaela was saying, I'm just going to go in here and say this. Nimble has a workflow feature. I've used Nimble to put this entire event together so I can engage with speakers. Some of the speakers I knew, some of the ones I didn't know. So I've actually been using Michaela's process here for a little bit, but she is the pro. But this will really help you learn what your process is and optimize that process. So when you do want to train someone else to do it, you'll know exactly what to do. Michaela, do you have any special offer or gift for our audience?
I do. So we would love to offer everybody 40% off for the first 3 months of using Nimble with the promo code Nimble40. And like you just mentioned, one of our latest feature is called Workflows, and it helps everybody in the company, because we have templates for all the departments in the company, to make sure that you are managing processes in an easy way that you can visualize easily who's in what stage of your outreach. And you can either do a Kanban board view if that's what you prefer. That's how my brain works. I need to like see everybody like a card and a picture of them. Or you can switch to a spreadsheet view. So a lot of people are either working in spreadsheets or not even using spreadsheets. So this can be like an easy way to start using a tool for managing your processes.
Excellent. Thank you, Michaela. That's what we got for you today. Definitely, when you finish watching this, please take the time, pull out a piece of paper and start figuring out what your process is. Maybe watch this again and noodle on what Michaela was telling us to do here and look for creative ways to connect with your audience. Thank you for joining us, Michaela.
Thank you so much for having me.